Hello everyone, I'm Paul and this is problem 3559. Number of ways to assign edge weights 2. This is a reasonably hard problem that might become tricky, so next we will go step by step. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, I highly recommend you to watch that video first. It's in my channel. This is very similar to part 1. We are given a tree, but instead of going from the root to the maximum depth, we are given an array queries, and each element is an array with source and destination. For example, here we go from 3 to 4. In between we have one edge, and remember that we can assign weights of either 1 or 2. So here the total number of ways to assign weights is 2. Remember what we did for part 1. We take this number, we divide it by 2, and the result in this case is 1. So the result of this query is 1. And we need to answer each query. So the result is an array with the length of queries. We start with this one, which goes from 1 to 4. Here we have 2 edges in between, and in every edge we can assign 2 different weights. So remember once again what we did for part 1. We can do 2 times 2, and this is equal to 4, and 4 divided by 2 is equal to 2. So the number of ways to assign edge weights such that we have a total sum that's add, in this case is 2, which means that here we need to add the 2. Next we have this query, 3, 4. Here we have one edge, so we do 2 divided by 2 and the result is 1. Finally, we have this query from 2 to 5. Here we have 3 edges, so we do 2 times 2 times 2, and this is 8. 8 divided by 2 is equal to 4, so the result here is 4. This is what we have to return in this case. Remember what we did for part 1. We can split the problem in 2 parts. First, we can get the number of edges for the current query. And once we have this, we can get the corresponding result. If we only had one query here, this would be relatively simple. First, we could get the number of edges with either DFS or BFS. And once we have this number, we could get the final result with some math. The problem with this part is that we can have a lot of queries, and we should use a DFS here, another DFS here, another DFS here, and so on. As you might guess, this is very inefficient. So the trick here is the following. Let's say that we are looking at this query, 2, 5. We start here and we have to reach this node. The only question is, how many edges do we have in between? Because this second part is the same as part 1. The challenge is here in the first part. How do we know that here we have 3 edges in between? We need to get the number efficiently. So the trick is that we can use something called lowest common ancestor. Between these 2 nodes, the lowest common ancestor is this one. And now with this information, we can get the amount of levels in between this node and the left node, in this case we only have 1, and the amount of levels in between this node and the right node. Here we have 2 levels of difference. And now the total amount of levels, meaning the total amount of edges, is equal to 1 plus 2. So let's see how this works. Let's say that we only have one query, the source is 4, the destination is 5, and the lowest common ancestor is 3. How do we get this number? First, we can build a map. We are using unique nodes as keys, and values are arrays, where the first element is the level of the corresponding node, and the second element is the parent. For example, node 1 is at level 0 and the parent is -1. Node 4 is at level 2 and the parent is 3. How do we build this map? Well, with a simple BFS. We can start from the root. Here the level is 0, the parent is -1, and in BFS we move in circles. This is level 0. Next we are at level 1. Here we are looking at these 2 nodes. As you can see here, nodes 2 and 3 have a level of 1 and the parent is 1. Next we continue with level 2, and as you can see, nodes 4 and 5 have level 2 and the parent is 3. And now with this map, how can we get the lowest common ancestor in this case? Well, first we can check what are the corresponding levels of these two nodes. So if we look at the map, levels are 2 and 2. Given that these two levels are equal but the nodes are different, we need to move up one level, which means that we are going to the corresponding parents. And now in both cases, we are looking at node 3. So now we are at the same level and the same node. This is the lowest common ancestor. Now, what if we have a query from 2 to 5? We are looking at these two nodes. How do we get this lowest common ancestor? Well, first we need to check if we have a difference in levels regarding these two nodes. If we look at the map, nodes 2 and 5, the corresponding levels are 1 and 2. They are different, so we check which level is larger. In this case, the level corresponding to node 5 is 2, and 2 is greater than 1. So this means that we should go up one level with this node. How do we do this? Well, here we have the parent, so next we can go to node 3. Now we are here, and we can repeat the same process. Now we are looking at these two nodes. So, given that these two levels are equal, but the nodes are different, in both cases we move to the corresponding parent. So next we are here with both nodes at level 0, and given that the two levels are equal and the two nodes are equal, here is the lowest common ancestor. And finally, let's say that we are looking at this query again. We have the nodes 4 and 5. We know that this is the lowest common ancestor. But we only care about the number of edges in between the two nodes. So how do we get these two edges? Well, first we can take the total number of levels in between the root and node 4. We have that number right here, it's 2. And then we can subtract the total number of edges in between the root and the lowest common ancestor. Here we have only one edge. So we do 2 minus 1, and this is equal to 1 edge, okay? And regarding this side, we can do the same. We take the total number of edges in between the root and node 5, this number is 2, and we subtract the total number of edges in between the root and the lowest common ancestor. 2 minus 1 is 1. So now we can do 1 plus 1, and that's how we get 2 edges. And by doing this, we are using only one BFS to build the map, and then with this map, we can answer all the queries. So overall time complexity is roughly big O of n because of the BFS to build the map, plus the number of queries times n, because each lowest common ancestor lookup requires n in the worst case. Space complexity is big O of n if we consider this map, or big O of n plus q if we decide to cache the function to find the lowest common ancestor. So with this in mind, let's go with the code. First, we need an adjacency list for the BFS. This is a default dictionary with a default value of an empty array. And now we can say for A and B in edges, adjacency A dot append B and adjacency B dot append A. We need a map for lowest common ancestors. This is empty initially. We have a queue for the BFS. This is an empty deck because we have to pop elements from left, and queue.append. Here we use a tuple with node, level, and parent. So we start from node 1, level 0, and the parent is -1. Just to be clear, here we say node, level, and parent for every tuple. Now we can start the BFS. So while we have something in the queue, we pop the leftmost element, and this will give us 3 values: node, level, and parent. Every time we say that map at the current node is equal to an array with 2 values. The first one is the level, the second one is the parent. And now we can iterate neighbors. So for every neighbor in adjacency list at node, every time we check if the neighbor is different from the parent, because this is an undirected graph and we are trying to avoid cycles. So if we can actually go to the neighbor, queue.append a tuple with neighbor, the current level +1, and now the parent is the current node. Now we can build a function for the lowest common ancestor. This requires two values, a and b, and first we can check if we have a difference in levels. So while the level corresponding to node A, remember that we use index 0 for levels, is strictly larger than the level for B, we move A to the parent, map A1. In the opposite scenario, while the level of A is strictly smaller than the level of B, we move B to the parent, map B1. If we are standing here, both nodes are at the same level. So while node A is different from node B, we can move both nodes to the corresponding parents. A is equal to map A1 and B is equal to map B1. And if we are standing here, we have the lowest common ancestor in either A or B. So we can just return A. And now with this function, we can build the final result. For this, we can iterate queries. So for A and B in queries, the lowest common ancestor every time is a call to LCA with A and B. And now for the total number of levels, remember what we did in the drawing. First, we take the number of levels in between the root and node A, and we need to subtract the number of levels in between the root and the lowest common ancestor. And here we need to add the same for node B. So we take map B0 minus map L0. And now with this number of levels, we can do the same as what we did for part 1. Result.append, we use 0 if the number of levels is equal to 0, else we do 2 to the power of levels divided by 2. But remember that we have a mod value, so we have to do 2 to the power of levels minus 1. This is the same as dividing the result by 2, and the mod value is 10 to the power of 9 plus 7. Now we can go down here and return result. But we are missing something here, and it's that we need to cache this function for LCA, okay? So this is the entire code now. Let's submit this and see if it works. As you can see, this works and it's very efficient. And maybe you are wondering, why do we have to cache this? Well, because we can have repeated queries and we want to avoid repeated work. So we are storing the first result that we see for a different combination of nodes A and B. This is it for this problem, so if you found this useful, please drop a like, subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.